streets of Soweto were alive, bustling with noise and energy. Children darted between rows of makeshift stalls, vendors called out their wares, and the distant hum of music played from portable speakers. But for Sifo, Temba, and Mfo, life was anything but vibrant. Behind their youthful smiles lay the weight of struggles that most their age could never imagine. The trio often spent their afternoons together, escaping the harsh realities of their world with dreams and plans that seemed far beyond their reach. One scorching afternoon, the boys found themselves near the edge of their township, lounging by a scrapyard, a familiar refuge from their troubles. The sun blazed mercilessly, casting sharp shadows across the rusted piles of metal. The air was thick with the scent of oil and rust, when a deafening roar of engines cut through the ground, demanding their attention. Intrigued, they followed it, weaving through narrow alleys and overgrown pathways, until they reached an abandoned strip of road where a group of older boys was racing souped-up cars. Come on! The sight was mesmerizing. Vehicles streaking through the strip like lightning bolts, tires screeching against asphalt, and the air vibrating with the thrill of competition. The boys stood frozen, hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The drivers, older and rougher, exuded an aura of power and rebellion that captivated the younger trio. "We could do this," Sifo whispered, his voice barely audible over the roaring engines. His eyes blazed with determination, and his hands clenched into fists as if already gripping the steering wheel. Temba and Maho exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of the idea sinking in. "Are you serious?" Temba asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Think about it," Sifo said, his voice gaining urgency. "Quick cash, fast cars. We could finally help our families, get out of this rut." Doubt lingered in the air, but the temptation of escaping their harsh realities proved too strong to resist. It wasn't just about the cars, it was about proving to themselves and the world that they could be more than their circumstances. With a silent nod of agreement, their lives took a turn they could never reverse. Their first hurdle was monumental: finding a car. With empty pockets and no resources, their only option was to piece one together from discarded parts in the scrapyard. Mfo, the group's mechanical genius, took charge. His late father had been a mechanic, and though his tools were old and rusted, they became the instruments of transformation. Night after night, under the dim glow of a flickering bulb, Mfo worked tirelessly. His hands became calloused, and his clothes were perpetually stained with grease, but he never wavered. Slowly, their car began to take shape. A patchwork of mismatched parts, the old hatchback stood as a testament to their grit and creativity. It wasn't much, but it was theirs, a symbol of hope cobbled together with grease-stained hands and unyielding determination. Their debut race was both thrilling and terrifying. Among seasoned racers, their patched-up cars stood out like a sore thumb, earning snickers and dismissive glances. But Sifo's charm and sheer confidence managed to secure them a spot. As engines roared and the race began, their cars struggled to keep up. Every corner, every turn felt like a battle against the odds. They didn't win, but they earned something more valuable: the attention of Tabo, a local racing boss infamous in Soweto for his underhanded dealings. Tabo was a towering figure with a reputation that preceded him. His presence was both magnetic and intimidating, his voice a low rumble that seemed to command obedience. He saw potential in the boys' grit and offered to mentor them for a price. He promised them a better car and advanced racing knowledge, but the cost was steep: a cut of their winnings and an unspoken loyalty to him. Yet Bu and Temba hesitated. "Tabo's bad news," Mfu muttered, his voice heavy with unease. "Once you're in, you can't get out." But Sifo, blinded by ambition, brushed off their concerns. "This is our chance," he argued. We can't let fear hold us back. Under Tabo's guidance, the boys delved deeper into the underground racing world. They learned to fine-tune engines, navigate tricky courses, and evade the ever-present threat of police raids. The thrills were intoxicating, but they came with a darker edge. The races became more dangerous, the stakes higher, and the boys found themselves entangled in a web of rivalries and grudges. Soon, the boys became legends in the township. Their new car, a sleek, turbocharged sedan provided by Tabo, dominated the racing scene. Victories piled up, and so did their earnings. For a while, it felt like they had made it. Sifo helped his struggling mother pay off debts, Tembo supported his younger siblings' education, and Mfo began dreaming of opening a proper workshop where he could hone his skills. But success had its price. Rivalries grew fierce and tensions mounted. Tabo's influence became suffocating, his demands relentless. The once unbreakable bond between the boys began to strain under the weight of their new lifestyle. The dangers of their choices loomed larger than ever, and the thrill of racing was slowly replaced by a gnawing sense of unease. The fateful race was set on a stormy Saturday night. Rain poured relentlessly, turning the roads into slick death traps. The stakes were higher than ever, and their opponent was Blade, a racer notorious for his reckless tactics and willingness to play dirty. As the race unfolded, the tension was palpable. Their car weaved through sharp turns, its tires struggling for grip on the rain-slicked road. Every movement required precision, every decision a gamble. Then it happened. A split-second mistake by Blade caused chaos. Cars collided in a violent chain reaction, and the boys' vehicle careened off the road, slamming into a street lamp with a sickening crunch. The aftermath was chaos. Mfo lay unconscious, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. Panic consumed Sefo and Themba as they pulled him from the wreckage. The crowd, once electrified by the race, vanished into the shadows, fearing the arrival of the authorities. The twisted metal of their car mirrored the shattered dreams they once held so tightly. In the sterile whiteness of the hospital, with Mfo's shallow breaths the only sound, the boys faced a sobering reality. Their ambition, once a beacon of hope, had led them down a treacherous path. They had gained much, but at what cost? The trust and values they had once shared felt fragile, on the brink of collapse. As Mofo slowly recovered, the trio made a pact. They vowed to rebuild not just their lives, but the bonds of friendship and the principles they had nearly lost. They agreed to leave the underground racing world behind, to forge a new path that would honor their dreams, without compromising their integrity. The streets of Soweto still hummed with life, but for Sifo, Temba, and Mufo, it now held a deeper lesson. Sometimes, the fastest way forward is to step back and find a better road. Their story was far from over, but as they walked away from the scrapyard that had once been their sanctuary, they knew they were taking the first steps toward a brighter future. Join us on this journey of redemption, resilience, and hope. Subscribe now to follow more inspiring stories like this, where dreams are rebuilt and brighter paths are forged.